Good morning, everybody. Jim Adkins here from Adkins Results Coaching. Going live with you this morning. It's a Tuesday, different day of the week. Did you expect to see me today? Well, there's been a few things on my mind, and life gets a little busy every once in a while, but there's no excuses for not being here more often. Today, though, I want to talk to you about your expectations, or all of our expectations. I want to ask you some questions, and I want to share with you some of the not really struggles, but some of the things that prompted this in my personal life as far as the expectations go. So I'm going to ask you a few questions first. Expectations, how do you feel? Good, bad, or indifferent? Do you think expectations control your life, your outcome, your emotions, your decision-making skills? And maybe not control. Maybe control is a big word, but how about do they affect or direct your life? And I'm going to tell you from my experience, yeah, they do. Anything that emotionally moves you or touches you, affects you, creates the opportunity to change or make a decision that may or may not be in your best interest at the time. And that decision can be what you say, what you do, things like that. So we're going to talk about martial arts too, and I'm going to load this up to the martial arts page because expectations is a black belt. And we talk about, what is a black belt in the martial arts. And this is kind of what prompted the video today. We get people close to black. And what I mean by close is when somebody reaches brown belt, which is in my system right before black, not right before, but it's the belt before black. It's about a year and a half average, probably no less, through the browns. And the reason for that, well, there's a lot of reasons for that. Let's say it's about a year and a half of trudging through the growth. By the time they're ready to test for black, they've already become a black belt. It's just a matter of showing that final aptitude or that final push, drive, and willpower to complete the task that finalizes the deal, right? So I'm at that point again in my school where there's a few people, several to be exact, and it makes me start to wonder, what do I expect from these people? So expectations, I wrote this down because I brainstorming all morning, have certain categories. I'm going to ask you which ones, how you feel, and what you do with them. As a parent, as a child, as a teacher, as a student, as a boss, as an employee, as a human being. Do you know what you expect from others? Do you know what others expect from you? And does it matter? We'll get into that a little bit. I'll be as brief as I can, but we'll get into a little bit. And then how do those expectations direct or determine your decisions about a person or things like that? So let's explore a little bit. Let's start with the one that I thought was the biggest one, but we'll go backwards here. Do you know what people expect of you? And does it matter? We all have expectations. Others have expectations also. How do those expectations play into our daily roles? Do you expect a person who wears a cowboy hat to act a certain way, to do certain things in their life? When you see them, he probably rode into town on his horse and that kind of stuff, or he loves country music, or even he's a conservative or whatever. Do you do that? Because I know those are expectations from some people about not only myself but other people who wear cowboy hats or consider themselves to be cowboys. So those are expectations by other people put upon you. Does that matter to you? Do you care? I know some people do. Some people allow what others think to direct the way they can carry themselves. And I'm here to tell you that in a 99% surety, that's not the right way to do things. There's that 1% of, and we'll get into that as far as a human being goes about expectations, but those will fall into the category of what do you expect of yourself? These are big ones. So you have expectations, and we all do it, of others, and we have expectations of ourselves. So let's expose a little bit, and I'll share with you this. Expectations as a teacher or coach for my students, clients, or friends, okay? And I consider all three of those to be the other end of my equation. They're all friends. And I have certain expectations that I set for them, for you, my students, my clients, my friends. When we discuss the growth patterns, or and when you come to me for help, or you come to me to teach you the martial arts, I have a method that works. I have tools in place that I share, that I give, that I use, that work. And I expect you to do your best. I expect you to take it seriously. I expect you to fail. I don't try to make you fail, but I know people do, and I expect it. And by expecting it, when it happens, I'm not moved in any direction, good or bad. If you expect something that doesn't happen, how does that affect you? Well, let's go to a parent and a child. When you expect your children to do the best they can, that's a good expectations. Those are good expectations. Excuse my English. You expect your child to put forth an effort to do the best they can. And then let's say they fall on their face. If you know that they are giving it their best effort, if you know that and they still fail, you know the process. You know that that's part of it. You help them up, you move them forward. But if you expect them to give their all and you know they don't, how does that make you feel, and how does that affect you? Are you disappointed? Are you angry? How do you respond? And how you respond is everything, especially when you're a parent and you're trying to help your child. You want them to grow and but you cannot baby and coddle them and spoil them at every turn. You want them not to feel pain or not to get heartbroken, but that's a reality of life. It's going to happen if you shield them from that, and then they leave and go out and experience it. They experience it in a different way on their own. There's a chance you can't guide them through the process. So it's a slippery slope as a parent and a child, right? Do you expect your children to have the same morals and the same values that you do? This is one that touches me, okay? I'm big on celebrating people, huge on celebrating people. I love people's accomplishments, and not that a birthday's an accomplishment. You didn't do anything. Your mom did it for you, right? So Mother's Day is a big deal. Father's Day is a big deal. Your birthday, I love your birthday because it's the day we celebrate you. I raised my kids that way. I know I did. I was there. Birthdays come and go. And me, not such a big deal. Somebody forgets my birthday, I'm okay with it. I've had 55 of them. I'm going to have 55 more. But when I see people I love put the same face on as I do, oh, it's no big deal. Don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. And I know deep inside that it hurts them to know their children don't remember them on their birthday or don't remember them on Mother's Day. It's something I wanted to talk about. How about you guys? Are you good kids? Did you call your mom on Mother's Day? I'm not talking about a text. That's not you. You know, if you're an adult, text messaging is, hey, happy Mother's Day, happy birthday. An acquaintance or friend, yeah. No, when you're celebrating your mom, text isn't going to do it. Did you call your mom? I'm not shaming you, but maybe I am. Expectations, though, the expectation to have it happen, and when it doesn't happen, how do you feel? That you're setting yourself up for a bigger emotional slide at the end of it than you were, as if you didn't have any expectations. But then having no expectations or good expectations like that can put you in a funk. Let's say you have goals and you expect yourself to achieve that goal and you don't achieve the goal. Those are controlled expectations where you can go, you know what, I'm better than that. I'm in control of this. I can make this happen. That failure was all on me. I'm moving forward. That's a good expectation. But when you expect others to have that same drive, that same willpower, that same forethought, and they don't, and trust me, if you think the way I just spoke, you're in the minority, and Bravo. But there are others who can't yet do that. And you expect them to, you will be let down. Why? One, you can't take them on their journey. You can't grab them by the hand and walk them. They have to do it themselves. Two, there's really nothing you can do other than show them by example, and that becomes frustrating. So let's look at some other ones. Are you a stereotypical, I don't want to say bigot, let's just say, do you use stereotypes? Do you expect others to act a certain way because of the way they look? Do you expect white people to act white, black people to act black, red people to act red, green people to act green? Do you? I think we all have a little bit. What's Mr. Murray say? Amen. Extremely important. Yes. Oh, good. Good job. Call him mom. I think we all have a little bit of preconceived ideas on how a certain group of people will act based on how they carry themselves with color and dress. Why? Because people will present to you who they feel they are inside outwardly. We know, and I don't want to be, I'm not prejudiced at all. I'm going to use some stereotypes here, please. No dirty letters or anything. This isn't, I'm not trying to be mean about this, but let's say that you meet a little green man with big eyes, big head, little body. You kind of think he's going to probe you. Using the Martian term, right? The Martians show up and you see him, and some people, if you've watched Paul the movie, you understand the joke. But if you see somebody wearing gang clothing, and I hate to use that term generally because they all dress differently, but there's a certain look, right? And you see them, regardless of if they're in a gang or not, that's how they're going to present themselves to you, because that's how they think they feel on the inside. They're presenting it on the outside. Your expectations of that person's behavior are built on only what you see. You're setting yourself up for a letdown, a disappointment, or are you pre-thinking or forward-thinking the interaction that may or may not need to take place at this time? If you're pleasantly surprised, good. If you've planned for a different outcome, think about it. Okay. How do you raise your standards and not have expectations? Well, you don't. And we talked about this. Expectations of yourself are good because you're in control. You know when you fail. You know it's your responsibility. Don't point fingers and expect better from yourself. How do you handle expectations of others or situations that you will eventually let yourself down and be disappointed? Well, I don't have the answer. I have some suggestions and some thoughts. When you expect your child to act a certain way, up to a certain age, you can control the behaviors by reward and consequences, right? That's on you. That's on you. And you teach them how to control or behave or adapt their personality and attitude to the situations as they grow. Past a certain age, and you expect them to be certain types of people, listen, you're setting yourself up for disappointment. Me, inside, I expect the best from everybody. I expect respect in a general sense and love from everybody. I expect everybody to be good people. Now, that expectation is not put upon them. It's hopeful within myself. Let me explain the difference. I'm not going to tell you how you're supposed to act, but I'm going to expect that you know what's right and what's wrong and how to treat people, even if I've never met you. Why? That sits good with my heart and in my expectations. If I'm let down because somebody acts differently than I believe they could, I might be disappointed not in them necessarily. I mean, there are people I can be disappointed directly in, but I'm not disappointed necessarily in the person, but in the way things have altered their view of life and how it could be. And I might get a little disappointed. But I give myself 90 seconds and I try my best to help the rest of the world, and we move forward. So talk to me. Mr. Murray said he called his mom. That was a big one for me. No matter what your relationship. Now, wait a minute. I can't say that. There are certain relationships with some of my clients that with their parents that are not, they don't need to be revisited at all. But let's say you had a struggle with your parents when you were younger. Most people do, right? And the memories are totally different between child and adult. But trust me, you still pick up the phone and you call them and you tell them you love them and you check on them or whatever it is you need to do on Mother's Day, Father's Day. I'm a dad. Here's a note. I've had two fathers in my life. My birth father, who died when I was 9, and my stepdad, who died, geez, I think it was about 10 or 11 years ago now. I don't even know how long it's been. When Father's Day rolls around, I know it because I can't reach out to them. And there will come a day when the people you love will only be reachable by prayer. It's not the same. It's not the same. So take care of the ones you love. Make sure you recognize them on the proper days that are set aside. Now I know, holidays and things are man-made ideas and things like that. But trust me, if there's a date on your calendar that has to remind you to call somebody you love and tell them you love them, 1, you're not paying attention. 2, do it. Just get up and do it. Let me ask you some questions. Please answer in the comments. Give me a thumbs up if you like the video. Please subscribe and share if you can. We're trying to build the channel. Expectations. Do you think they direct your decisions, and how? 2, if you want, give me an example of when you had expectations and it turned out where you were disappointed and you were capable of reframing your expectation or helping the situation become better. That was 2. Let me see. I thought I had a really good third one here too. Okay, which one stands out to you the most? Expectations on parent-child, teacher, student, boss, employee. Do you know what your boss you know what your boss expects from you? Do you know what your spouse expects of you? Do you know what your parents expect of you? Do you know what your children expect of you? If you don't, the answer is always clear communication. Don't be afraid to tell somebody you love or somebody you're close to or like a partner or whatever it is exactly what you expect, even if you have to write it down. Because listen, I'll tell you, this is one of my favorite quotes. I came up with it a little while ago. I'll see if I can get it right. Many a word unspoken is often a word misunderstood. Let me say it again. Many a word unspoken is often a word misunderstood. If you don't say it, don't expect them to understand you. I love you. I want you to have a great day. Let me know what you think of the video. I've got another one that I want to do on dreams. We'll come back Friday probably and do the dreams. I had a client ask me, what about bad dreams? What do bad dreams mean? And I've got some thoughts on that. So I'll see you on Friday. I love you, Mr. Murray. Are you practicing? I got a big orange belt for you. All right, guys. Until next time, this is Jim Adkins from Adkins Results Coaching telling you, on your mark, get set, grow.